Everyone knows what that feeling of home is. To me, the mountains are like coming home.
I would say he's definitely a high-performance athlete. He's one of the best ultra runners in the country.
Ian has no limits. He has an idea and he sets his sights on it. He will do almost anything to make it happen.
I don't feel like I live with much fear at all. I've seen what the end of my life could look like, and I feel quite a lot of peace with whenever and however that will be. Ultra running is getting to explore a huge amount of space, both externally and internally. And the place that you get to go to inside your own head over the course of running for, say, all day is unprecedented.
Many athletes that I work with, when I tell them about ultra running, they just say, those guys are crazy, because there's no recovery for them. That's maybe what makes it most ultra. It's not that it happens in a desert or that it happens in a mountain. What ultimately makes it ultra is that they're under physical duress. They're under physical duress before they start, and they go through it.
I've won many events now, setting some course records, doing some big routes out in the mountains when I've set the fastest known time.
He's an exceptional athlete. Ian is a very cerebral person. He's very analytical. And I think he really enjoys approaching races and training as a large sort of puzzle, almost like an academic program.
When Ian first talked about some of his explorations and races, I was always really worried. It would be something that would be in my thoughts and in my gut every day, all day long. Was he going to be okay? Was he going to come back from this?
Almost at the top of the 11th pitch.
Somehow I thought flip-flops was a good idea.
So I'm out for a run on North Over Traverse, and I thought it would be sufficient to just bring 500 mils of water. Then I realized that my water bottle has a leak. I'll check in later when I'm dehydrated and cramping and crying.
I mean, there's been enough cases, you know, or instances in my life where I've been like very close to dying. Maybe to the point it was as close as I could get without dying. I was crossing through the crosswalk. I saw the vehicle coming. It went right through me. It ended up being a hit and run. I went over the front hood of the car and through the front windshield. I flew over the back of the car, tumbled in the air, and landed on my head. So I remember like sitting up after the accident and bringing my feet up and my like right leg was bent like it is, and my left leg I like bent it up too, and it bent fully again down here. And so my leg was just like dangling, and I remember just like pushing it and watching it like wiggle. Oh, it was so gross and creepy. So gnarly. I ended up requiring a couple surgeries to reconstruct the leg. Other than the muscle and other soft tissue, there was no structure holding it together anymore. The fact that I didn't die, the fact that I didn't sustain any paralysis, the fact that I didn't sustain any spinal or brain injury was just amazing in itself. Over these 2 years, I'd gotten back to like training and weightlifting in the gym. But I couldn't run. My marker for whether I was okay again was whether I could run. One day I went into the UFC's fitness center to try it out on a treadmill. I went for 2 miles. At the end of that 2 miles, there was no pain, and I knew the unlimited potential that there could be in my life.
It's totally not lost on me that that accident has kind of transpired into, at this point, like a decade's worth of work in terms of my career. To reduce it down to an accident, I think, is unfair and not quite accurate, but that was the kind of beginning point for it, for sure. I wonder what kind of line of questioning you could use to get at that with people, whether it's this sport or another one.
That year I had to do an honors thesis research project. I was concentrating in medical anthropology. My supervisor, Dr. Charles Mather, was helping me come up with some ideas, and we came up with this wanting to explore these theories called embodiment theory.
So sport, it builds unique sorts of bodies. It's about going faster, jumping higher, being stronger, to have these capacities to do more than what the normal body could do. So each sport, you could argue, has different demands that it places on its participants. By participating, those people build a particular body that's suited for the activity or sport.
I had recently seen this poster near the outdoor center at the climbing gym at the UFC for this ultra marathon race. I didn't know what an ultra marathon was at the time, called the Canadian Death Race. It's a 125-kilometer trail run in the mountains near Grand Cache in northern Alberta. I said, you know what, Chuck, what about using this like natural, opportunistic case of myself to study embodiment?
I think that was the first time that Ian realized, and that I really kind of talked with a student, that you could study sport and you could study your own experience in sport as a kind of lens on the larger society.
The longest race I had ever done before was a 10-kilometer road race. I went basically from 10K to 125K, and from 10K on road to 125K in the mountains. So it's certainly not advised. I had 8 months to develop a body that could get me through this 125-kilometer ultra marathon.
I kind of thought, well, okay, you can try and do this, right? But ultra running is extreme. Maybe that's too extreme.
When I heard it was called the Death Race, I mean, it sounded awful to begin with. Is this something that people actually die doing? Ian's already been close to death a couple times in his life. Why does he want to do it again?
There's a number of things to be aware of and keep in mind in your training and preparation, and then during the events themselves, that you can run the risks of having some adverse health effects. Strain or a sprain, blistering, vomiting, bad coughing, swelling, blindness, kidney issues. And on top of all that, I do have this challenge that almost nobody else has, which is this type 1 diabetes. It's an ongoing management challenge for my life, every day of my life since I was 10 years old.
There hadn't been a type 1 diabetes in the family. We went to emergency and he was admitted, and at that time, Ian's blood sugar reading was the second highest that they had ever encountered.
The parents were expected to come in and do lessons with the nurses. It's when I had to inject it into his little body. I had the needle there and I just started bawling. And he said, "It's okay, Mom, it doesn't even hurt. That needle's like really skinny and it's okay and you don't have to worry about it, it'll be fine." And so he talked me through my first injection.
Within a week, Ian was back on the soccer team playing soccer, which is like a real testimony to Ian's resilience for sure.
Like you can see on the tips of my fingers, just all the scars from testing my blood sugar so much. So this is like me testing my blood sugar on my glucometer. I'm feeling pretty high at the moment. Yeah, my blood sugar is like super high. It's like having your endocrine system in terms of the blood sugar control is like being a manual transmission in a vehicle. The vehicle will run and it can run super high performance, as high as any other vehicle out on the road of any model, but you're the one that's having to make these changes. The body is not going to do it for you.
Practice setting up some rope systems with you in particular.
That's definitely an ongoing fear of mine. If he's alone running in the mountains, for example, and for whatever reason he didn't pack enough juice or he didn't pack enough fuel that day, he could definitely run into a very serious emergency situation and may not make it out.
I was out for a run on a route that I've done 30 times in my life. I had worked all day and gone out there for a 2-hour run after work. I ran up to the top of the mountain. As soon as I started descending, I was starting to get these twinges of feeling low, and I could feel them in my legs. And so I ended up eating everything I had, and I was still getting these crampings. This is not good. The sun's setting, I'm on my own. I don't have cell reception. Nobody knows that I'm out here. And the only food I have is back at my truck. One of the issues of having low blood sugar is that you get quite confused. I started taking what I thought was a shortcut to just try and get back to the car as soon as I could. And then I was stuck, lost in these woods. I was losing coordination of my muscles and I was collapsing into the snow. Somehow, and I don't know how to explain it other than maybe it took that long to let the small amount of carbohydrates that I'd taken in work to raise my blood sugar a little bit. I was able to get up and walk back to the truck and was able to change into dry and warm clothing and eat all the food that I had. It was the most terrified I think I've been. I don't know that there was a point during the transformation when I felt like I had it in the bag or that I could finish the race. I was doing a bunch of testing on myself to measure my body, from blood work and respiratory tests of my lung functions to heart functioning. Every day I was just feeling more able, more strong, faster and fitter. And not only was that this feeling, but also my body is just displaying it.
11-5, final stage.
Come on, Ian.
Let's go, Ian. Keep trying to get this.
Push through.
One full minute. Let's go. Let's go. Push hard. Push hard.
Come on.
Let's go, Ian.
In the VO2 test, when you stop not because it's uncomfortable, but because you were no longer able to continue.
So keep it up. Keep going. Let's go. You're not finished yet. Keep going. Let's go. Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. 15. Going up. Let's go. Come on. Push, push, push. You can do it, Ian. Keep it up. Let's go. Push hard. Push hard. Treadmill doesn't go higher than that. We're going up by incline every single time. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Let's go. Push, push, push.
Come on, Ian. Let's go. Keep going.
Let's go. You can do it.
Looking good. Let's
Come
go.
on. 30 seconds. You can do it. Keep going. Keep going.
Push through.
Let's go, Ian. Push to the end. Keep going. All the way to the end. You can do it.
Yeah, come
All
on.
the way to the end.
Wrapping it up.
All the way to the end.
Yeah. Go.
20 seconds. Okay, we're slowing down. Last 30 seconds. Push, push, push.
Come on.
Press that button whenever you want. That's stop button whenever you're done. Whenever you're done.
All the way to the end. All the way to the end. Let's go.
Let's go.
Come on, Ian. Come on, Ian. Push the
All right. We're good. We're good. Nice job.
Good
right.
job.
You crushed it.
Nice.
Take this off. Keep the heart rate monitor on just for a minute, okay? Okay. Yeah, that's why I wanted
The test is designed to make you feel like this, puts you right to your limits, regardless of whether you're a sedentary person or a highly fit person. Everyone will end up in the same place, and that's totally bonked out. The thing that really got me kind of out of bed and up every day if I was feeling exhausted, and it was look, in October you weren't able to walk on your own. There's no way you're gonna get through 125K unless you do the work today. At no point, even until more than halfway through the race, did I think that I could finish the race. And I remember the last 2 or 3 kilometers coming back into town. It was now light in the morning, and I just was hurting so much, but so stoked to finish. And I finished with 45 minutes left on the clock. I was the second last person to finish the race. That said, only about 1/3 of the people that started finished the race. So this is a collection of the race bibs from Michelle. I don't have a collection like this. I've participated in so many events and had the race bibs from participating and then the medals from finishing. I'd rather give my medal to someone who can really appreciate having a medal. Having diabetes, in addition to the sports that I'm doing, is this blend of perpetually being on the edge
There's this edge of the unknown, but also the edge of life and death.
I definitely do think that diabetes plays a role in his will or his desire to really excel. In a sense, maybe he's trying to overcome it. He really almost wants to prove his disease wrong.
Sometimes I think his motivation might come from his health concerns, because he might feel like he has a limited window.
I think he always saw his bar much higher than any of the rest of us ever saw it, and he continues to do so.
And I never thought of Ian seeing a bar. I mean, it was just him looking for adventures.
If my life ended today, I had enough. And this is part of what having diabetes and this car accident and the other accidents I've been in. Today is a good day to die.